The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
It's the bonus show, and as most of you realized, Ben Dixon was hosting the show today. Hi, Ben.
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be on the bonus show. Actually, before you even start, I need a copy of last week's bonus show where you talked about us going to Whitey's. So I need to become a member. Everyone should become a member so they can get that.
I can just sneak you a link to that one.
Okay. I won't tell anyone.
On the DL.
All right.
All the members know now, but maybe Dave won't. All right. So I think Ben did a great job today, and those of you who wish to send in some praise for Ben, feel free to do so.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right. Let's get into this. I just found out about a form of substance abuse, an intoxicant in general, that has been around for some time. But I just found out that people are using it. People are smoking dead scorpions. Yes. So as everyone knows, scorpions have toxins in their stinger. It's a poison, and some people even deliberately will pay to get pricked by someone who has a scorpion in their hand. I guess there's some pain, but after the pain subsides, assuming it's not one of the scorpions that can be deadly, you might get high. This gets worse, though.
How could it get worse?
Because people are killing these scorpions. They're dried in the sunlight or burnt on coal. The scorpion is cooked alive this way. And then people are smoking the scorpion to get crazy, crazy high. They are saying that the substances that are being smoked here are more dangerous and potent than any normal narcotic.
I wish I had a lot to say about that, other than that is some batshit crazy stuff. That is the craziest thing I've ever heard. I remember, when you try to find ways to get your next high. All right, you just keep it simple though. Whatever happened to just smoking weed? Apparently, this must not compare.
No, these people need something more powerful. This story highlights a man who had an opium addiction, and for many years was smoking the scorpions. I mean, he became addicted to the scorpions, and he has to stick with opium now because the scorpions could kill him. So
more dangerous than opioids, where we have this crazy addiction rate here in Massachusetts and New England, people dying, but scorpions are that much more deadly.
I'm guessing that this is a high that's more along the lines of meth, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's very creative, isn't it?
It's insanely creative. Like, I always wonder who actually thought of this. Like, who was the first person to say, let's take this and smoke a scorpion? Mm-hmm. I was in Costa Rica over the summer, and we had scorpions everywhere. The last thing that I ever thought about was, let's even burn one.
Yeah.
It was like, let's just get away from it.
Yep. I have a friend who I used to work with. The joke was that he could find a way to smoke anything. And the people, hundreds of years ago, maybe thousands of years ago, there must have been people like him around, because they just thought to themselves, what can I smoke to get me fucked up?
I mean, but how do you even not, I don't know, maybe you give it to somebody else to see if they die first. Maybe you give it to your enemy and see if they die first. Say, oh, they got high. Let me try. Maybe they tried it as a way of poisoning the king 1,000 years or 2,000 years ago. Mm-hmm. The king didn't die, and he just really got high, and they said, oh, well, hell, let's all get high.
You know what it was? It must have been like this. It must have been at a time when people knew that you might feel pretty good or get kind of high after the pain of a scorpion sting subsides. And it was a time when people were already smoking maybe things like opium or whatever. Mm-hmm. And someone just decided to combine the two and said, well, we'll see what happens.
A little scorpion. Let's see how it works out.
Yep. All right, moving on. Don't smoke scorpions,
please,
or any insects for that matter. If it's an insect, I believe it's I don't know what it is.
Whatever it is, don't smoke it.
Don't smoke it. Okay, Keurig has just agreed to go green in a way. The coffee pods, we've talked about this before, the coffee pods that are just everywhere and contain coffee that probably isn't the freshest, are non-recyclable, And Keurig is generating a ton of pollution because of these things. And now they have agreed to make their cups recyclable, but it's going to take 4 years.
Okay.
And I guess this means something, but people are saying this just isn't good enough, and I agree.
Is it not good enough because of the time frame, or is it not good enough because of the amount of recyclables, or is it just the time frame?
Just the time frame,
Yeah.
and that this amount of time, about 4 years,
The amount of waste that
there's
it's going to make between
an
now and then.
estimated 40 billion more coffee pods will end up in landfills.
Wow. Yeah, no, my first question when I heard about that was why 4 years? And of course, it's an economic decision. They're going to try to roll off of and wait for technology to increase so that they can have a less expense recycling. It's always the bottom line, but that's a lot of waste between now and then.
Definitely always the bottom line. And it's, I mean, what are you going to do? At least they're
something.
acknowledging it's a problem. And I don't know. Are you a coffee drinker?
Yeah, religiously now because of my wife.
What do you use? Do you have a Keurig?
No,
Okay.
I'm one of those people who goes to the coffee shop every morning and gets a coffee. I feel bad because of how much I spend on coffee every year. So
Hey, look at it this way. You're supporting businesses and you're keeping people employed.
yeah, no, and it's a small business. I do not support a certain company. I almost said I go to a local coffee shop and they know me by my name. They know my wife's name. I know the old guy who sits in the corner and reads the paper. Whenever I work from home, I read the paper with him, and it's just kind of it's a local thing, and I like to do that.
Yep. I mean, when I make coffee for myself, it gets the job done, and the coffee always tastes better when you get that nice cappuccino out, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, I just order the coffee. I have no idea how it's actually made. So I'm just saying, yeah, and I actually have no idea what you're talking about.
Yep. It's I don't know much about coffee making. I know a little bit, but I know that when it's done right and when I do it, there's a pretty big difference. And but whatever.
At least they're trying.
You know what I can make well? I can make a Turkish coffee well.
Okay.
And that's a coffee where the beans are ground more than fine, even finer than fine. It's called Turkish ground. And then you put them into a little coffee maker. And then when you're done, everything gets poured into a small cup, and all that ultra fine coffee just kind of settles, and some of it is kind of lingering. And so it's some people find that really unappealing, having some grit in there. I kind of like it, but anyway.
To each his own.
Yep. Okay. Story here about Nepal. In 2015, there was that massive earthquake, which it just ravaged the capital of Kathmandu, and 8,000 lives.
Wow.
Yep. And so you can imagine how many homeless people, the destruction, and they're still trying to recover. And as a result of this, tourism has declined big time. Tourism was something they relied on. And there's almost no money to start rebuilding. It just seems like they are in a terrible, terrible place. And the sad thing about this is that if I were to go view the Himalayas, which is something I've always wanted to do, I want to gaze upon the biggest mountains in the world. Nepal would be my first choice.
Right.
And after reading this, I'm thinking to myself, maybe I shouldn't do Nepal. How long is it going to be before this is even a pleasant experience? I mean, because you could show up there and it seems people are desperate. People need money terribly. You're swarmed by people who are want your money to be a guide. Prices are higher. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's sad.
It's it's sad, and you think about it from just an international development perspective. We were in Costa Rica doing some studies over the summer. I think I've said that twice already.
Yep.
But it's when an economy is so dependent on tourism, the slightest thing that discourages tourism just completely ravages the entire nation, right? And so everything from your basic security to social security, everything in between just falls apart. And with what you're saying is like you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people making that same exact decision that you're making, essentially to say, I don't know if this is the time to go, but you going would actually benefit them quite a bit.
That's true. That is a better way to look at it.
Yep.
I talked recently on the bonus show about Egypt and how the tourism in Egypt for quite some time was basically gone. I mean, it was just gone. And these huge resorts that were once very popular, famous destinations are just ghost towns.
Yeah.
And so you're right. Maybe I will still try to get to Nepal.
But then you have to ask yourself the question, should that responsibility be put on you, right? So I don't want to, I'll just muddy it up a little bit to make it more difficult for you to make your decision.
Yep. We all have to make this decision together.
There you go.
So I encourage people to go to Nepal.
Well, there you go. Let's
do it.
When are you going?
When?
Yeah.
It's going to be a while.
It's going to be a while? Okay,
Yeah.
good, because I can't go for a while either. So, David, whoever, everybody, just get on. Actually, I have a problem with flying, so maybe I need to get a scorpion and smoke the scorpion first before I get on the plane, because I absolutely hate flying.
That's what we're going to do. First we'll ask your doctor for a prescription for it, but if they can't hook you up, then
we'll find it somewhere.
we're going to go back to Costa Rica and
there you go.
collect
Get those
a whole bunch.
dead, because they were dead everywhere. Man.
Yep.
Do they have to be fresh, or does it not matter?
I think they probably have to be pretty fresh. Yeah.
Okay. So these were kind of skeleton scorpions. We'll hire somebody. We'll stimulate the economy, hire somebody to catch a live scorpion. We'll smoke it on our way to Nepal, which sounds like something out of a Harold and Kumar movie.
Yes. So we will be saving the economies of Costa Rica and Nepal simultaneously. Ben will be high as hell, and we'll see some mountains. It's a plan.
Hey, it was good being here, man.
Good to have you.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.